Okay, are you like a whole bunch of SMMA owners out there that are stuck in the chicken and egg scenario? You want to get more clients, you want to get into this space and you want to get it working, but no one will work with you because you don't have testimonials or feedback, and you can't get that feedback until someone works with you. Today, I'm going to talk about a question that was asked in our school group over at Service Delivery Kings. You can check that out in the description if you want. I'm going to talk about a question because it's a question that pops up a lot, and I'm going to help you with a strategy for this specific circumstance where you're on a call with a client and they ask you for a testimonial or a case study or something like that, and you don't have the credibility and it's ruined and the call just goes in the bin. So for those who don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy. Everyone calls me Uncle Jimmy. I've been running my SMMA agency, My Online Guy, for over 8 years now. And I'm also a service delivery coach over at EasyGrow, which is Charlie Morgan's course. You've probably heard of him. And I've taught over 500 SMMAs how to deliver their service and get really good results so they keep clients for a very long time. All right, so let's get into this question. I'm not going to read it because it's quite long, and feel free to read it as you're watching this video. But the cliff notes are, Jonathan has asked the question, basically, what do you do when you're on a sales call and someone asks you for testimonial or a case study and you can't really provide that? And this pops up a lot, especially in the group, but just in general, there's a lot of people out there that are like, what do I do in this situation? But honestly, a lot of the time when this happens to you, it's because of something you've done. It's your own fault. And what I mean by that is you're probably getting asked that question because you're asking for it, because you're coming off as untrustworthy. So a lot of the information I see in the SMMA space is actually based around telling people to fake it till you make it, or to get fake testimonials and fake reviews. But a lot of the information is just to pretend to be bigger than you are. And I actually think this is the single worst piece of advice that anyone can give you when it comes to dealing with sales, especially in the SMMA space. What tends to happen is if you try and fake it when you make it, you don't come off as sincere, right? It's hard to lie to someone's face if you're not a psychopath or a sociopath, right? If you're a psychopath, it's going to be natural. You're going to be able to lie and no one's going to blink an eyelid. But most of us, when we're lying, humans have evolved over a very long period of time to pick that up. So if you're pretending to be something you're not, your mannerisms, your subtle eye movements, your facial movements will give it away. And the person on the other side of the call is going to be, wait a minute, he's not telling me something. And instead of directly calling your BS, they're being tactful and polite and basically calling your BS out indirectly by going, where can I see a testimonial? Just to catch you in a lie. You know, some people get a lot of pleasure out of making people feel uncomfortable. So that's generally where it comes from. So we can avoid this situation altogether by using the strategy I'm just about to talk about. So like I mentioned to Jonathan in the group, what I think everyone should do when they start is just use the fact that you don't have experience as a strength. Because you got to think about it, right? If it was an ideal world and we were operating in a vacuum, every client should work with me. And I'm not saying that for any other reason except I've got the experience, I've got the team, I've got the track record. So why wouldn't they work with me? So what I mean is, if that was the case, then why is any SMA able to succeed? All the work would just be going to the big players in the space. And it's because not everyone wants to work with a big agency. The thing is, if they're going to work with me, they are literally going to be a number, right? And some people don't want to be a number. Some people want a more personal service. They know that if I've got 70 Facebook ads clients, that I'm not going to work as hard for them as if I had 2 or 3. And some people want that. Some people want the personal touch. Ultimately, almost all businesses, all they want when they're working with an SMA agency is someone that's going to think about their business as much as they do and put in a whole bunch of effort to get results. Now, things like guarantees and things like that, they help a lot. They do help to get that person on the call. But the rubber meets the road in what you say in the actual sales call. And what I would highly recommend people do in the sales call is something along the lines of the following. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly this. You would have to tailor it to your specific circumstances. But this is what I did when I didn't have much experience. I essentially made sure that I just was brutally honest, and I made sure that I carried that conversation in a way that was a positive thing, not a negative thing. And this is how I went about it. So I was in the sales call. Look, I understand you may be looking at me and going, I'm young, don't have much experience, whatever suits you. but let's say it's not a lot of experience. So look, let's just get this out of the way. I understand you may be looking at me going, why would I risk working with someone without a lot of experience and someone that's new to the space? And that's a valid point. I completely understand where you're coming from, but let me paint a picture for you here for a second. My livelihood depends on you getting the results because I want you to be the first person. I want you to be one of the first clients I get, and that sings from the rooftops of how amazing the service is for you. So my life depends on you getting results. I am going to work harder for you than anyone has ever worked for you in your life. And I'm going to treat what we're doing here today as if it's my own business. I understand I don't have as much experience as other people out there, but I do know how to do ads and I do know how to get these to work. And I'm just looking for someone to give me a shot. And if you give me that shot, you are going to get so looked after and no one else is going to get this after you. It's going to be the first people that put their faith into me are going to get all of my love. If you just said that to a client instead of trying to pretend like you got lots of people working for you or you got lots of results, how can someone say no to that? You know what I mean? It's sincere, it's honest, and it's the truth. This is what people don't understand about the SMMA space especially, is you are dealing with real business owners that have real experience in the real world. Their livelihood depends on being able to detect bullshit. And if you go into there and feed them a bunch of bullshit, they'll detect it and they'll do everything they can to shut the conversation down. Whereas if you just go in there and be honest and sincere and talk about how, yeah, you can look at the fact that I don't have experience as a negative, but I look at it as a positive. They're going to go, actually, that's a really good point. I want someone that works really hard. I want someone that's going to do this. I'm willing to roll the dice to make that happen. The second thing I think that would really help in this narrative, if you're going to go down this path, is obviously you're not going to be able to charge as much as I do. The reason I can charge what I charge is because I'm mitigating a lot of risk for them by having a proven track record. So they're going to pay more if they work for me. And it's not necessarily that I'm any better, it's just I've got more overheads. But you can also use that to your advantage. You never want to discount clients, but I'm okay with people mitigating risk by doing things cheaper. So I would say that to them. So when they ask about the price, you give them the price and you go and you say something like, look, I just want to qualify this pricing for a second. So the reason the pricing is the way it is because I appreciate that you're taking on some risk by working with me. I don't have a track record. Like I said, I'm going to work harder than anyone else you ever met, but I don't have a track record. That makes it riskier for you. So the pricing reflects the amount of risk you're taking on as a business. All I can say is that once we get you the results and you're singing from the rooftops about how good a result we got, no one else is ever going to get this pricing. This pricing is exclusively for the people that are taking on the risk at the very start. And that makes sense. That makes sense why your pricing is the way it is. And you may not be giving a discount. It's all about playing to your strengths. And a lot of people out there, they play to their weaknesses and they try and disguise their weaknesses. Whereas I've been really successful in the SMMA space by being myself and just playing up my strengths and pushing away the weaknesses and just not making them as big a deal. I got told this when I worked in agriculture. Your job in sales is to reassure people by patting them on the back while simultaneously plucking $50 notes out of their ears. That's our job. Our job is to give this person confidence. So we're passing our confidence in our ability onto them. And the way we can do that when we don't have experience is by going, okay, you can't have confidence in my ability because it hasn't been proven, but you can have confidence in the fact that I need this to work as much as you do, and I'm going to work super hard for you. That gives people the same amount of confidence as not getting the result. Now, there'll be owners out there that just won't work with you because they can't afford to take the risk. And they will pay a premium for someone like myself. But there is a lot of businesses out there that are looking for a bit of a discount, looking for a bit of a young gun that works for a little bit less, but will get the same results. They're looking for people like that. And the final thing I'll say is, do you really want to start, let's say you happen to trick the person you're working with into thinking you're a massive agency and you've got a lot of results and things like that. Do you really want to start a long-term relationship with the client you've just gotten on a lie? It's very difficult to keep up a lie long-term. Next thing you'll Freudian slip or something will pop up and the client won't forget what you said in this call. And they'll be like, wait a minute, you said you had heaps of people working for you. Why is it just you? It's like, you don't want to start that. You don't have to hide this fact. Like, you don't have to look at the fact that you don't have experience as a negative thing. I would also add, and this was in the comments, like our school group is quite active. There's 6 or 7 comments and there's some really valuable contributions there. And one of those contributions was basically saying that I wouldn't necessarily bring this up unless they asked. Don't go out of your way to pretend like you have lots of clients, but also don't bring up the fact that you don't have many. But just have this in your back pocket so that you're not blindsided by this question. You can go to them, because let's say they just lead in with they want to see a case study, then you can just work a narrative and go, look, to be completely honest and transparent, I don't have a case study to show you right now. And to be honest, I don't have any clients. Now, the things I do have, blah, 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 blah. So play to your strengths, guys. This goes for sales in general. I hate the fact that people are teaching other people to lie. I think that's the worst advice you can give anyone when it comes to sales, because people don't want to work with a liar. And it's like simple advice when you hear someone else say it, but it's not executed on very well in this space. So guys, that is my advice. If you don't have much experience, turn that negative into a positive. Think of the reasons that someone would work with you and why they want to work with someone with no experience, and double down on those points. That's all you have to do. You maintain your integrity, you come off as sincere, and people are going to appreciate the fact that you're honest. So guys, that's all I got for you today. If you've enjoyed videos like this, there's so many questions like this in our school group, and the group is absolutely amazing. Make sure to go and join it. The link is in the description below. It's one of the most active groups on SMMA in school. I know that for a fact. And it's just an amazing group of guys and women that we've got there. So make sure to join that if you haven't. And of course, I'll catch you in the next video.